everyone, welcome to another video. So instead of doing a week in my life or day in my life video, I thought instead that I would take you along and do like a lesson plan with me video. So that is what this one is going to be about. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start planning out for next week, which will be the 24th of January. So really quickly, I use a Plum paper planner that I have customized. So I am doing the vertical this year, so I'm really enjoying that. I will kind of show you a little bit more in depth what that looks like. But basically, I want to preface this by saying that my district requires us to use board-approved curriculum for our lessons. So the majority of what I am going to be planning out is going to be the materials from that curriculum. So for instance, I always start off with my Eureka Math Teacher's Guide and the Being a Reader Teacher's Guide for whatever unit we're on. So we are on Unit 5, which is Wondering about fiction and poetry. So that's how I start. I start with those, and I am allowed to kind of fill in if I see that there's like a gap or something that we might need some extra practice in, but the bulk of my teaching has to come from these manuals. So just throwing that out there. I kind of thought that this would be a good way to kind of show new teachers what they might need to do, because there are a lot of people on YouTube that have these brilliantly creative lessons that they've made themselves. But then there are districts like my own that require you to teach from the material. So that's what we're gonna do. I will take you through, show you how I plan, how I get everything ready. It is Wednesday, as I'd mentioned, Wednesday, January 19th. So I have 3 days to get planned for next week. So let's go ahead. I will show you a close-up of what my planner looks like just for the weekly spread, and then we're gonna get filling stuff out. Okay, so obviously this is the week for next week. I have written down that we have to do our walkthroughs looking at behavior-specific praise next week. I'm a co-chair for that committee, so that's why I put that there. But I'll just take you through. So MM stands for morning meeting. Then we have reading. That is our whole group shared reading, which comes from this book right here. Then we have BAR, which stands for Being a Reader. These are my small groups. Then I have writing. We have math, which we use Eureka. I have science or social studies, and then finally specials. So basically, I'm gonna just start off with morning meeting because that one is easy, and fill that out, and then we will just kind of go through and I will show you what's what. So I'm going to do reading next. Reading is a 5-day lesson. So we will be on week 2, day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm just gonna kind of jot that down. I do put page numbers on here. I also kind of just jot notes down if I need like specific things, but mostly everything is self-explanatory. So if you're not familiar, this is what it looks like. So it tells you like what to ask and all of that. It's literally all right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this out for reading for next week. And then we will move on to math, where I'm pretty much gonna do the same thing. So here we go. Okay, so that was just me very quickly sketching it out, so I'll kind of just hold it up here. Unit 5, week 2, day 1. I kind of just list the books or poem or whatever that we'll need. And then underneath HW, that's handwriting. Over here, we start our vocabulary, and we do that for 3 days, so I just write that at the bottom. This is really just for me to glance at to make sure I remember what we're doing and what materials I need for the lesson. So for some of these, you typically need like picture cards, word cards, that kind of thing. I just like to jot down what I need to make sure I pull out so that I can put it in my drawers, which are over there, those rainbow drawers. So that's really what I do with that. So now that it's all sketched out, I'm going to take a look at the actual manual now, and I'm going to go through and highlight like what I'm supposed to say, what page I'm supposed to say it on, that kind of thing. I also typically will take the book if it's a new book, which this first one, Going Places, that is new this year. We did not use that last year. And I'll kind of just look through the book so I know what's happening in the book as well. The other book for this week, which we start reading, I believe, on day 3. Let me make sure. I want to say day 3. Yes, that one we read last year. So I already have my notes and stuff. I already know what that book is. So I don't need to take a look at that one. But that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to pull the book out and kind of just highlight in my manual and take care of that really quickly. I'm probably only going to get reading planned out, and then I'll jot down what I'm going to do for math for next week, but I won't fully plan that one until tomorrow. So this video is going to be like over multiple days because I don't get my planning done in one straight day. It takes longer than that. But let me go ahead and finish off reading and show you what that looks like, what I do, that kind of thing. And maybe you can get some tips, hopefully. Yeah, so let's go ahead and take care of that one. That's literally it. That's how I plan reading out. I go through, I highlight the questions, I read through the book, and I pull out the vocabulary cards. So I'm going to pull out the pictures for assemble and contraption and participate and startled. So those are our vocabulary words that go along with this story. I think they also go along with Walking Through the Jungle, which is the other story we're reading. But yeah, that is a very quick look at how I plan this out. This one is very self-explanatory. It doesn't take a lot of really extra thinking about it. They have a lot of the activities already laid out. Like this lesson will use their student response books. So this one's pretty much good to go. Math does take longer. It takes much more prep work, especially because I am doing 2 different groups of students. So that one's going to take a little bit longer. However, I am going to be giving the Module 3 end of module assessment for a couple days next week. So I need to print that out so that I have that to look at before I start planning that. But yeah, we will pick up with math tomorrow. Now I'm going to run upstairs and get ready to get my kids from specials. So that took me about 15 minutes or so just to plan out reading, but again, this one's very easy. So I will be taking some of the extra activities that they give you. So there are some, I will show you, there's some extension type stuff that come in the book, and I'd like to use that every once in a while for activities for rotations, especially the writing rotation for my higher kiddos. So I will be going back through and kind of glancing over that when it comes time to plan out my small group stuff for next week. But yeah, that's where we're going to stop after day 1 of planning, and I will check in with you tomorrow where we will pick up good old Eureka Math. All right, hello everyone. New day, still lesson planning. I did a little bit of it off camera, so I did print out the next unit of writing, and I kind of went through already and highlighted the lesson plans for the first week. So I did do that off camera. What I'm going to do now is enter it into my lesson plan book and jot down what I'm gonna need for each thing. So some of these things need to be printed in color, so I typically do that at home because it's easier. So that is what I'm gonna do right now. Jot this down. I think someone's coming to collect my science kit, so hold that thought. Okay, I'm back now. They were collecting my sci kit because they need to be returned on Monday. Anyway, so I did go through and highlight. So basically this whole unit is on introducing sentences and getting them to start writing sentences with their stories. So I have the first 5 lessons planned out that I'm gonna sketch in here and make a note of like mentor texts or whatever that I might need to do or have. I did order them from Amazon, so they should be here on Saturday. But yeah, just gonna very quickly write that down and then move on to math. The other thing that I did this morning off camera is I did print off their new journals. So it just has a bunch of paper that looks like this. Printed all those off, got those stapled and copied and ready for Monday. But yeah, so let me jot this down and then we'll very quickly bounce to math. Okay, now for math, we have just finished Module 3 today. So next week, the first 2 days are going to be taking the Module 3 assessment. Now it's not like terribly long, but I want to make sure we are putting forth our best effort. So I'm going to split it into 2 days. Because of that, we're gonna do some review stuff as well. So that is what I'm gonna schedule out first. So Monday and Tuesday of next week for math is going to be the post Module 3 assessment, I think is what it's called. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just gonna put that down, Module 3 assessment, because that is going to take care of the first 2 days in terms of like lessons. Then we start Module 4. The thing about this is that I am slightly ahead of my teammates. So I'm going to go ahead and start Module 4 next week, but then I may pause and let them kind of get caught up to me because I would like to try to stay with them. But I am ahead and they are behind. So that is what's going on for math. But for next week, I'm gonna go ahead and plan out the first 3 lessons. So for math, this is like twofold. So I'll go through and I will write down the standard. So this whole thing is about composing and decomposing the numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so that's what we're gonna work on. Somebody's shouting. I don't know if you can hear that, sorry. Okay, I think they're done. Anyway, so this means, because it's a new module, that we're gonna have new fluency activities and we're going to have new materials to kind of put together. So what I typically do is I go through, skim through the lesson to see like what we're doing, and then I will go through with a Post-it note and write down the materials that I'm going to need for each lesson. So that's how I plan this out, because Eureka has a lot of pieces to it. So I'm gonna write down what we're doing first, and then I'm going to jot down the materials and stick that in the book, because that will help me make sure I have everything ready for each day. And I'm also going to have to take a look and see what I might need to print out. Like, I'm already seeing that there's like some templates and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have to do some printing. So let's go ahead and take care of that, see what we need to get put together, and if I can get anything prepped ahead of time. It is currently 2:30. Math honestly takes like the longest to prep. So I'm probably gonna just write this down, jot that stuff on the Post-it notes, and probably be out of time, honestly. The big thing, first of all, I'm gonna write down, my teammate just told me that we're doing national symbols next week for social studies. So we have Studies Weekly to help us out with that, and we have some materials that we'd used last year. So I have a lot of this stuff already, so I'm just jotting down national symbols, and I'm just going to have them work with the materials from Studies Weekly for the first day, Monday, because that way, if I don't get time to plan the rest of it out, I'll at least have that first lesson planned, and I can do the rest on my plan on that Monday. Because sometimes you just don't get it all done, y'all. Anyway, let's backtrack. Let's get this math done. Here we go. Okay, so I just went through, wrote down what I need for each lesson, as you can see, and because I have 2 extra days to kind of play with for next week, I am not going to worry about getting this stuff together now like I normally would if I was going to like teach the lesson on Monday. Some of this I need to borrow some hula hoops from the PE teacher, because what we're doing is we're doing number bonds, and they're having the students use like their bodies to show the number bond. So I have a lot of this stuff already put together. Like, I have the number bond templates already printed out and put into sleeves, but I need to go through and see how many I've got. Now, I am hoping that my attendance will be decent enough that I can do my mixed groups with this. And if that's the case, then I will definitely have enough of the materials, because I had 12 students in person last year, and that is like, we started module 4 when they came back. Oops, sorry, that was my doorbell. I do that all the time. Anyway, yeah, so they came back in person like when we were doing module 4, so I have a lot of the stuff needed for this already, and hopefully that will help cut down some time. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call math done for right now, because I really want to take a look at my small groups, because that is the last thing that I need to plan out. So one thing I know I want to do is I want to print out just some lowercase letter tracing, because our program does not introduce lowercase letters for a long time. Like, we still have, next week we are doing 2 more capital letters. What is it? Capital J and capital S, and then the question mark, punctuation mark, and then we're finally going to get into lowercase. So because of that, the students really don't know how to write lowercase letters. So I think I'm just going to run a few of these off for them to use during writing time. This can be something that they do. So I found this book, and it basically just has like that you write the letter with a different color marker, basically. So I'm gonna run a few of these off for the writing station for all of the groups, because they all need work with lowercase letters. And that is one thing that I can definitely do. Word work is done for next week. I put those bins together. If you watched the last Week in My Teacher Life that I did, which I'll link up above, I went through that. I'm happy to do an in-depth look at them. If you want to see that, let me know, but That's done. I don't have to worry about that. What I need to plan out is what I'm going to do with my small group. So I'm going to grab those things and we're going to plan that out. So one thing that I do know, that first day, I want to do my letter naming group. I want to do my 2 sight word groups. So one of my sight word groups also needs work with lowercase letters. The other one does not. They just need sight words. So those are going to be my groups for Monday. There's another voice outside, y'all. This is a busy place. But yeah, so that's my group for Monday, my groups for Monday, and I already have that stuff ready. So I am using Lettervention for my letter naming group, and for my sight word groups, one of them I am using Beginning SIPs, which has like sight word books. I will grab it, hold on. Okay, so beginning level SIPs has these sight word books. So it starts off, I see me, and then the stories go through using like those words in the story, so they get like 4 days of that. So that's what we're going to do with that group. We're going to work on those 3 words, I see me, and then for my one that needs lowercase letters, we are working with these books that look like this. So like this says I can, and the sentence would be like I can smile, and we just do that together. I can run, I can swing. So I've got those that we can do with that group. And then they also have, let me grab, there's like movement cards and like ways to look at the letter to help you remember what they are, that I got from, I don't remember what his name is. I'll look it up and I'll link it down below and I'll like put it on the screen right here. But he has basically like the letter and then he adds like a little picture to it to like just kind of like help them remember what the letter is, and then it has like a little saying that goes along with it. So that's what I'm going to do with those 2 groups on Monday. So that's planned out already. I didn't get to them at all this week. We've been having some issues. Let's just put it that way. And so I had all this stuff planned and never actually got to it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We are going to work with those 3 groups. Then I have 2 groups that are in a Being a Reader set. So my goal is to do my letter naming group again to finish the Lettervention lesson on Tuesday. And then I will do my 2 Being a Reader groups. So my set 1 group and my set 2 group. And I will show you what we're gonna do with those, because those are straight out of a manual. So those are easy to plan too. So if you're not familiar, the manuals look like this. They are scripted, just like the rest of the program. Yeah, so my set 1 group is on week 2, day 2, right? Is that right? Week 2, day 2, I believe. Yes, week 2, day 2. So we're gonna write that down. And for this one, we are going to need our sound sort. So I will need to copy that. And otherwise, we're good. The word that they're doing in that one, I already have. You can see it right here. I did introduce the word, so part of it's been done, but yeah, we need to do that. We need to read the story, the new story, and day 2 for Being a Reader always takes longer. So hopefully we can get through all of that, but it may not happen. So that is Tuesdays. That's for my group in set 1. My group in set 2, it's very similar. We are on, we did this one. Let's see. We are on day 2 of this one as well. So it is also week 2, day 2. And we also need their sort. Are you noticing a pattern? But yeah, it's the same thing. Like they're both the same lessons, just with new words. And then they will also get their new book as well. The only difference is for set 2, their guided spelling is like actual words. It's like some CVC words. It's using patterns like CK is one that we learned. And then the set 1 group is still just working on sound. So I'll say like, write the letter that makes the S sound, and they'll need to write the letter S, that kind of thing. So that's that. That's what we're gonna do. And then we're going to do those same groups on Wednesday, because I want to make sure we get through this week, because y'all, this has been taking forever. So we're gonna do those same groups on Wednesday. So learning letters, set 1, which will be week 2, day 3, and set 2, which will be week 2, day 3. So that's that. Then the last day of groups this next week is going to be on Thursday, because Friday we are doing our PBIS incentive, and it's in the afternoon, so we have to like shuffle our schedule around, so we won't be doing small groups on that day. So to end out the week, I will probably just do letters and both of my sight word groups again, because I think that will round it out nicely. So again, not hard to plan for this. It's more just making sure you have the copies done and things. We will do that'll be our word for my group, I gotta get these, like you can see them behind me, these words, they have to learn them, and some of them are really, really struggling with that. So yeah. But yeah, that is a look at my planning. It's nothing fancy. And if you'll notice, I use a pencil because I wind up making mistakes. And I used to use color-coded pens. I was like a little bit extra, but we don't have time for that, so I don't do it anymore. But yeah, that's a look at my planning. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave them down below. I'm happy to answer them. I can do them as like a little segment in my next like week in my teacher life, day in my teacher life video. But yeah, otherwise, that's about it, y'all. Again, I don't do anything fancy with my plans. I follow my district curriculum and I add things in where I need them. One thing that I probably will do next week when I get into school on Monday is I probably will print off a couple of writing activities for them to do with their various like levels, but that's not something that I write down in my plans. That's just something that I do and then I just put into the folders. So that's where we're at. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye everyone.